So not too long ago, I made a video emphasizing the need for arknights to implement an easy mode into their game. And after seeing many doctors in the comments agreeing with my opinion, I reached out to Hyperglyph support a couple days later with my request, and I linked them my video in that email. And the support team did get back to me very quickly, but I still assumed that my request would just get lost up in the chain of command. However, to my surprise, the most recent updates to the CN server introduced difficulty modes into the game of standard, hard, and easy. Now, I won't be taking all the credit for this change, but only most of it, and since receiving this news, my perspective on my ability to influence a game's direction has changed quite a bit. With this newfound power, I've really been taking the time to reflect on additional features I feel should be added to Arknight's next update. And that leads us to this video I have for you all today. These were the top 3 features I thought of that Arknights absolutely needs to implement. Number 3. Injured damage inflicted art for all operators. For this feature, I am requesting a change in operator art upon them taking critical damage. For example, here we have Siege in her normal, undamaged state. And this is how I reckon Siege should look after taking critical damage. I borrowed this idea from the other gacha game I play frequently, Girls Frontline. In Girls Frontline, injured art is a very crucial feature that commanders couldn't do without. It gives you visual indication on when you need to retreat your units, as well as gives you iframes to exploit various game bugs. And this greatly enhances your gameplay, as well as gives the game an extra layer of complexity that allows for many high-level tactics to be formed. During my time playing Arknights, I've experienced a countless amount of times that I had an operator randomly die on me, and I'm just unaware which operator even died and where on the map they died. And I always feel like this is unfair when I have an operator die in this way, and it could just be so easily avoided if the game were to just implement some form of visual feedback and ideally some audio feedback as well. And from a common sense perspective, it makes absolutely no sense to not have injured animations and sounds. I just don't care what superpowers these infected furries supposedly have. I just don't buy that any operator is coming out unscathed and fully clothed after getting pulverized by Bob's chainsaw. Number 2. An option to exchange the currency you get from grinding real life to power up your operators. Ideally, I would want the ability to power up a newly obtained operator all the way to E2 level 90 using only my USD currency. One of the things that annoys me the most about my Arknights account is just how many level 1 operators I have that I really want to get around to powering up and using on stages. My idea of purchasing an operator's E2 is inspired from another gacha game I used to play a lot called Revue Starlight. I promise the number 1 feature on my list is completely original, but please hear me out on this one and let me demonstrate in-game on Revue Starlight how gameplay enhancing this feature is. So what I'm going to do is log in, get the latest and greatest unit in the game, and level them to their maximum potential in just a matter of minutes. And oh my, what a coincidence, day 650 of logging in. I feel very honored to share this special occasion with my YouTube audience. And this must be the newest hoe that they added to the game that we will be summoning for, and it appears there's 4 new latest and greatest units Revue has to offer. Let's just get this hoe though. And I'm unsure where the fuck my day 650 login gems went. Little confused what's going on here to be honest, but I can just buy more anyways. I guess we'll get this very top one here. Only 3 hours left on this deal. Looks like quite the steal to me. So as you can see, best Revue Starlight player this world has ever seen. Okay, so we got our bitch here, also got a bonus bitch alongside her, so very happy about that. So now I can finally show you all the game enhancing feature that I want added to Arknight's next update. So if we go back to our home screen here, we see that we are given the option to use the currency we make from our real life chores to power up our newly obtained unit. So 6 star is basically the equivalent of E2ing an operator in Arknights, and I just can't understate how much I appreciate this feature in this game. The most annoying thing about gacha games is that you can use real-life currency to obtain a unit most of the time, but you always have to complete a daily list of chores to power them up. So what we're gonna do here is get the equivalent of E1 now, and then we'll get the E2. So I think it should be apparent now how useful this feature is and how great it would be if they added it to Arknights. So we got this hoe maxed out now, and as you can see, she looks very pleased with herself. Okay, for shits and giggles, as well as just demonstrating how powerful this newly summoned 5 minutes ago obtained unit is, let's go dumpster someone in a PvP versus battle. Alright, so we're facing this jabroni, and I hope their in-game name there isn't something offensive. I'm unaware if I can get in trouble for that on YouTube if I do not know the language, honestly. Anyways, here we are in PvP, and I'm just gonna throw this on auto battle here. And as you can see, we are taking out their backline here in a major way, just really giving this kid the absolute dumpstering of their life. We'll tank up some hits here, and I don't know how the fuck she is shooting a crossbow with one hand, to be honest. But anyways, I think we are about to perform our very powerful and very gay review stage performance here. This is pretty much the equivalent of a Noble Phantasm, basically an ultimate attack. So that should be all she wrote here, and actually my opponent surprisingly survived that. And I'm gonna be honest, you guys, I'm very impressed by my opponent's fortitude here and unwillingness to forfeit the battle. And it appears just to spite me, my opponent is going to activate their stage performance and waste more battle time. I'm afraid they leave me no choice but to respond in kind to the toxicity here. I think we'll choose this great work emote. Very sarcastic. Okay, so we got the dub, there you have it. Probably will not use any of this footage. And hope you all enjoyed that high-level Review Starlight gameplay. I felt that the best way for me to make my case that Arknights should add this feature as well was to simply just show it in action. And the number one feature that Arknights needs to add is a Surtur slot. What I am proposing is that Arknight squad setup goes from 12 operators plus a support unit to 12 operators plus a support unit plus a Surtur unit. Ever since Arknights has introduced the Surtur mechanic, I've just found that my team building is limited to 11 operators since every newly released stage is balanced around the Surtur mechanic. And on one hand, I'm a big fan of the Surtur mechanic since I think it enhances the game strategy in many ways. In modern Arknights, good doctors just know when and how to employ the Surtur at the opportune times. And though I am a huge fan of the Surtur mechanic in terms of making the game more complex and intricate, I do wish I had my 12th operator slot back in my squad. And if you don't think having an additional operator for squad flexibility is a big deal, I'm sorry, you're just really bad at the game. Going from 1 medic to 2 medics in a lineup, for example, doubles your healing output, which is a big deal. Having an extra operator slot can help in multiple ways and will allow for more creativity in squad composition. Now, in terms of this feature's implementation, I would say that if the account doesn't have Surtur, then I think it's fair that the Surtur slot defaults to an E2 level 20 Surtur with no masteries. And if an account does have a Surtur, then they simply have an option to replace this default Surtur, which the doctor would likely want to do once they power their Surtur up a little. So that concludes the 3 features I feel Arknights needs to add. If you disagree with any of these proposals, I suggest writing a well-articulated comment. All of the disagreements from my last proposal on adding an easy mode were very low effort and I think fair to say troll comments. People said that me wanting an easy mode in Arknights just meant I had to get good or that I had a skill issue. And I think when the Hyperglyph team saw my video after I emailed it to them, these comments just didn't bode well. It really looked as though those people who were against an easy mode just had no well thought out argument and they just looked really silly. So what I'm heavily implying here is that I plan to make Hyperglyph aware of these feature requests I laid out in this video and get these implemented into the game. So if you are against any of these features I laid out in this video, I think a well-articulated rebuttal would serve you best. But hey, if you just want to troll in the comments, go ahead, knock yourself out. You will just be helping my cause overall.